This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Encompass Health, North Shore Community College, Leo Inc., and Brotherhood Credit Union.
Hello and welcome back to LCTV News. I'm Dani Vittori, and we may be entering the shortest month of the year, but that does not mean that events are slowing down. This week was chock full of grants being awarded, community engagement, and the sharing of organizational information. The Lowdown continued this trend as Greater Lynn Senior Services came on the show with the focus on the MassHealth Redetermination period. Here's the news for Friday, February 2nd, 2024. Laurie Walsh was a central figure in Lynn, known for her efforts as a philanthropist, businesswoman, and dedicated resident to the city. Walsh died on Sunday, January 28th at Salem Hospital at the age of 69 after a 9-year battle with breast cancer. She made every year count and is remembered for her drive, giving spirit, and leadership by both Mayor Gerald Nicholson and LHAND Executive Director Charlie Gaeta. Gaeta and Walsh worked together for almost 30 years after Walsh was appointed to the Housing Board in 1984. In her 20-year tenure as chairperson for the Lynn Housing Authority, she was a leading fundraiser, donating thousands to various causes. This is in addition to the scholarship fund by her and her husband, John Walsh, to assist high school seniors, which distributes between $25,000 and $30,000 every year. Her work did not stop there, as she co-founded the Christmas Parade with her husband and the late Richie Vigor. Laurie Walsh also helped organize an alcohol-free event on St. Patrick's Day every year. More than anything, those who knew her remember her for being a fiercely loyal friend, full of passion, committed to doing all she could to increase programs and opportunities for the residents of Lynn. Donations can be made in her name to the LHAND Scholarship Fund. Now at the halfway point in his term, Mayor Nicholson delivered his second State of the City in front of a full house. He highlighted accomplishments in education, jobs, housing, and infrastructure, as well as emphasizing the ongoing work being done to combat community violence and housing insecurity. Here's a clip of his speech.
We'll continue to push for the Federal Veterans Affairs to sign a lease to keep its care here in Lynn. After our EDIC stepped up to buy the building last year, an example of the important work that we owe our veterans in gratitude for their service and their sacrifice. Friday, May 14th, 2025, when the city turns 175, Look at the seal. It's the actual date.
Calculator.
Our hope is to be able to turn on the Fountain on the Commons through a grant that community development received.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, we set the budget for the new Pickering, which only became feasible after a $30 million increase in MSBA funding that the city advocated for with partners, especially our state delegation. Thanks to this collaborative effort, I am thrilled to be able to say that this summer we will break ground on a new Pickering Middle School.
The full version in both English and Spanish is available on our website, lyntv.org. Lynn received a $100,000 state grant meant to increase the early literacy screening program for LPS by hiring a screener who fully meets the requirements put forth by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Currently, the schools have a screener who partially meets the expectations. The purpose of a screener is to identify markers of growth and literacy, while also determining which students may be at risk for reading difficulties. Instructors and educators can then use this information to inform their decisions and better help students. This is in addition to several existing programs to promote literacy, including evidence-based early foundational skills and a strong ELA core curriculum for grades K through 5. A committee of teachers, administrators, and instructional coaches will be responsible for selecting an early literacy screener, with the plan to be in training at the onset of the 2024-25 school year. From 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday the 27th, the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce hosted the first annual The Big Home Show at the Lynn Tech Annex. Their goal is to continue to grow this event, potentially introducing a business expo as another way to support their members and the community.
We are here at the 2024 Big Home Show for the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce. This is our first year doing this event. We have a lot of our members here showcasing their businesses for the community.
We're just looking to support the members of our Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce and hope that you'll come down and see them and support the businesses that we have here today.
This is our first time doing this in a very long time. We're hoping that it will grow in the future.
We're actually thinking about maybe next year doing a business expo to promote and support all the chamber members and their businesses, and then maybe alternating that every other year doing a home show and a business expo.
We're looking to introduce more free community events just to get the community more involved with the business community. Our motto really is strong business, strong community, so we're trying to show that more to connect the businesses with Lynn residents and other local residents. So we're excited. We're excited to be doing this with the community and with our businesses. So thank you everyone for making this event possible.
Lynn local Don White put on a show later on the 27th to support Kids and Community, a free summer camp run by St. Stephen's Church for more than 2 decades. Audiences enjoyed a night of entertainment by the White family while also participating in raffles.
And a future that used to just torture me with questions like, who are you going to be? Will your life...
Don White is a local treasure, as many people here know. And tonight we are supporting Kids and Community, which is a summer camp, free summer camp, that has been run right here in this very area in other parts of the church for over 20 years. KIC is more than a camp though. It's also a place that local youth get their first job. And we've had some kids, they become mentors, which is a camp counselor. And we've had kids who've gone from being campers to mentors.
It changes lives and makes a difference. These are kids from 6 to 13 years old that come here for free. And what they find is mentorship with the volunteers, and it is literacy based, and the data is alarming about our levels of reading, which is below proficiency. So that is really scary, because as we all know, reading is the key to everything else. We're here from 8 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon, and you name it, and we deal with it as far as all kinds of needs of intervention that the kids bring with them. Low reading scores, poverty, chronic disease, divorce, separations, substance abuse, violence, prison, you name it, and one of those things is affecting one kid or another at the same time. But when they come here, this is a reprieve. This is a safe space where they know they're loved and they know they belong.
Come on out and be 16 with me.
The The City of Lynn will receive $6,900 in seed grants from the State Treasurer's Office of Economic Empowerment in partnership with the Division of Banks and Office of the Consumer Affairs and Business Regulation. This is part of the larger 2024 Financial Education Innovation Grant, which awarded over $223,000 to 59 schools and districts. Of this number, 15, including Lynn, are receiving seed grants, meaning they will be hosting financial credit fairs for the first time. Given that Lynn also has a significant number of low to moderate income students, they receive an additional $500. These fairs are meant to teach students how to budget, pay for college, and learn lifelong financial management skills. Mayor Nicholson was in Boston on the 29th, being sworn in as a member of the Housing Advisory Council for the state. It is composed of community members, government officials, and professionals from across the state in a variety of fields. The Commission on Unlocking Housing Production was also staffed, with both being made possible through executive orders in collaboration with the Affordable Homes Act, all in an effort to make Massachusetts more affordable and developing ideas to increase housing options. For the Housing Advisory Council specifically, their job is to develop a comprehensive housing plan for the state. This includes increasing housing, preserving and upgrading existing housing, assisting those struggling with homelessness, using housing to create economic mobility for all residents. The first Winter Jamboree took place this past Sunday the 28th, put on by the Lynn Special Olympics at Lynn Tech. Athletes in the special needs community were given the chance to play several games against each other, while also participating in a clinic put on by the Endicott men's basketball team.
The first annual Lynn Special Olympics Winter Jamboree took place over the weekend at Lynn Tech.
Yeah, today was great. We had a lot of support from the community.
Even Basden, who has been working with Special Olympics Massachusetts for several years, put the event together to bring more awareness to the Special Olympics program.
First impression is it's just very overwhelming, I think, gratefulness-wise, when you have that many people come out and support not what you're doing, but more so what the kids are doing.
Former basketball player at Endicott College, Basden had assistance from Endicott's men's basketball program with the basketball clinic for the youth.
I mean, I think it's big for them as a team, but obviously we appreciate it as well. These kids getting a chance to kind of interact with some very high-level players.
Throughout the day, there were a total of 4 games played with teams from Lynn and surrounding areas.
First game was Salem High School versus Lynn High School's basically community team. Second game was Northeast Arc, 22 plus, so obviously older men and women against our 22 plus team. The third game, we were able to put together a nice little inner scrimmage with our two teams.
Basden is excited for what the future holds for the Special Olympics program.
I always say this with Special Olympics, once you see it, you understand it. Once you see what inclusion does for everybody who was here today, whether you play for Classical, whether you play for Solon or Salem, you understand that this needs to be replicated and happen often. So, I mean, this is an incredible start. Like I said, a bunch of people came out and were able to see it. So I think as we put more of these on, we could do one-offs, we could change up the sites. But I'm excited for the future of sports, inclusive sports in Lynn particularly.
For LCTV, I'm Kala Kabongo.
From 5 candidates, Molly Cohen has emerged as the newest deputy superintendent for Lynn Public Schools. Cohen has been an educator in Lynn for more than 20 years, including serving as interim deputy superintendent in 2022, following the resignation of then Superintendent Patrick Tutwiler. She has worked in multiple roles, including a sheltered English immersion teacher at Lynn Tech, a bilingual guidance counselor at English, vice principal of Reed Middle School, and principal of Marshall Middle School from 2015 to 22. Most recently, she served as LPS's interim executive director of curriculum and instruction. Cohen's priorities are enhancing student-teacher relationships and increasing opportunities for Lynn's diverse student population. She is replacing Deputy Superintendent Kimberly Powers, who will be retiring at the end of the school year. Cohen will begin serving alongside the 2 remaining deputies beginning next school year. In light of conversations with community members and officials, City Hall hosted a mentorship spotlight and recruitment event on Monday the 29th. A dozen organizations set up tables in the foyer, allowing youth and adults the opportunity to learn more about programs being offered to become both mentors or mentees.
We are here at the City of Lynn's Mentorship Spotlight and Recruitment event. It's the first time we're doing this, and the goal is to bring together all the different organizations that do amazing work here in the city, connecting with young people, and to showcase them, to highlight them, to share the city's platform, to help them find young people to benefit from the programs, but also to find potential mentors. Open call to adults in the community that are interested in giving back and getting involved and showcasing the various programs that these different organizations have that will allow them to do that. So we're incredibly grateful for everybody that's here tonight, all the different organizations and their teams who have set up tables to share information about their programs, the city staff that organized it, and everyone who's here participating. Some really great conversations all around the goal of connecting with our young people and helping support them on path to success. So this came about out of a conversation we had, a community conversation that we had last fall in the wake of some violent incidents that happened last summer. We brought the community together with the police and the district attorney and the school department and the local and state officials and hundreds of people from the community, almost 200 folks. And one of the themes was around mentoring and ideas about how to connect with young people. And so this came out of that conversation about how we can put those mentoring opportunities in front of people.
The Lynn Community Enrichment Program held a registration and info night for their upcoming classes beginning later this month on the 20th. Interested participants could come and ask questions about the various courses being offered.
My name is Aura Martinez. I'm in charge of registration for the people who doesn't speak English, helping with my Spanish. And we're here today to register for different classes that we're going to offer starting in February. We have English, Spanish, poetry, yoga, and we have a big community who really need our help. So we're here to support the community.
The reason I'm taking the beginner classes for the computer, because I want to have an update, and I have a 5-year daughter, and I want to help her when she's going to school, and I'm excited to do this too.
The reason I take this is to improve my life, and I wish I can help in the future to people like they doing. I have 2 boys, one 12 years old and another one 8 years old. And sometimes it's a challenge when they bring in the homework or to try to help them. I'm taking a beginner computer to improve. I have my GED 5 years ago, so I think education is opportunity for everybody, and thanks God.
I'm excited. Everybody's excited. Like they have like a lot of questions, and we try to answer everyone. And I can't wait to see.
On the line, the sports update. In Lynn Showdown, the Classical girls avenged a previous loss to English, besting the Bulldogs 53-44. Both teams gave it their all, and English had the lead 40-36 going into the fourth, but a 16-4 Rams run allowed them to escape with the 9-point victory. The Bulldogs had their own highlights, knocking down clutch threes in the first half. 4 of the 5 starters for Classical scored in the double digits, with Linda Jallo leading both the scoring at 14 and the offensive rebounding battle. The English girls lost 52-36 to Saugus on the 29th and were routed by Peabody 52-23 at home on the 31st. On the 30th, Tech also fell 42-34 to Greater Lawrence. On the flip side, the Panthers and Rams were victorious. Kip downed Rockport in a tight 47-44 contest, while Classical handled Triton 38-33. The Rams won again on the first, doubling up on Somerville 39-17. Both Lynn Tech and St. Mary's rebounded in dramatic fashion. The Spartans took down Hamilton Wenham 73-23. They went up 20-3 in the opening period and built a 50-point lead by the final buzzer. While the Tigers had their own 30-point victory, 75-45 over Neshoba Tech, led by Allison Morales with 36 points, 5 rebounds, 14 assists, and 5 steals. The English boys entered enemy territory and won 78-52 against Classical over the weekend. 4 Bulldogs scored in the double digits, led by Jose Anderson with 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 steals. Despite leading at several points, they lost 78-74 to Charleston. This did not deter them, outscoring Chelsea 22-4 in the third quarter en route to a 76-37 victory opening February with a win. This leaves the Bulldogs at 12-3. Meanwhile, the Tech boys clinched their spot in the MIAA Division IV state tournament with a 64-54 home win over Lowell Catholic. 3 players recorded double-digit figures, and out of the 76 Division IV teams are in the 8th seed and are 10-2 overall. For the boys Spartans, they fought to the end, defending their home court 59-51 over the visiting Bishop Feehan Shamrocks. 8th grader Jake Fortier stepped up in a big way, scoring 17 of the Spartans' first 21 points, including a solo 10-0 run in the second. The Shamrocks did not go away quietly, going on a 7-0 run in the fourth to pull within one, 43-42. J.J. Martinez took over in the second half for the Spartans, draining 13 points, including 5 of 6 free throws in the fourth to secure the win. This was followed by a 75-64 road loss to Martha's Vineyard on the 28th and a 74-36 non-league stomping of Brook Charter later that week. The boys Panthers also notched a 4-point 85-81 win over Fenwick on the 29th. Senior James Meklis led the way with 20 points and 7 assists. Classical boys began the new month with a statement 69-58 win over Somerville, keeping their record above 500 at 7-5. Rolke Bray Arias was all over the court, netting 20 points and 14 rebounds. The St. Mary's girls hockey team clinched the Central Catholic on Sunday the 28th, handling Bishop Stang 6-1. Casey Litwin and Bella Freitas topped their team with 2 scores apiece. They followed this with another dominant 7-1 beating of Central Catholic. Turning to the pool, Lynn Tech is having great success. Junior Katie Roos returned a champion, winning her conference in the Greater Boston League meet over the weekend. A team effort earned them the city championship over Classical and English. Their 135 points came from winning 4 events, while also combining for several second, third, and fourth place finishes. The Tigers' skills also shined on the track when the girls' team captured their 3rd consecutive Commonwealth Atlantic Conference title, defeating Innovation. Wins in the high jump, 300, 55 hurdles, and 600 meter helped them bring home the gold. Jeremy Swayman earned his first All-Star nomination, boosting a .923 save percentage on the year. Between him and Linus Ullmark, the Bruins secured their 30th and 31st victories over the Washington Senators 3-2 in overtime on the 25th, before tripling up on the Philadelphia Flyers 6-2. Against the Senators, Brad Marchand's one-timer was the game winner with just over 3 minutes remaining in the extra period. Another veteran, David Pasternak, recorded 2 goals and an assist off 8 shots on goal, boosting them to a win over the Flyers. The Bees continue to lead both the Atlantic Division and the Eastern Conference. For the Charging Celtics, Jason Tatum punched his ticket to his 5th NBA All-Star game in 6 seasons, earning an MVP nod in the 2023 All-Star game. He currently leads a balanced offense, beating the Miami Heat 143-110, in which 7 different players scored in the double figures. Combine this with 55% three-point shooting, and that's a deadly combination for opponents. They faltered against the LA Clippers, losing at home 115-96, but took back the momentum, downing the New Orleans Pelicans 118-112 on the 29th. It was a back-and-forth game with the Celtics down by 8 headed into the final period. Derek White got hot at the right time, draining 4 from downtown to contribute to Boston's 23-9 run in the fourth. They held off the Indiana Pacers 129-124, including a 45-point second quarter and a clean block shot by Tatum with 30 seconds remaining. Greater Lynn Senior Services, GLSS, joined us on the Lowdown to shed light on the MassHealth Redetermination period for 2024. Suspended for a time during COVID, representatives explained what people have to know in order to update their information and continue their coverage. Here is the Lowdown. Hello and welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have on two representatives from Greater Lynn Senior Services. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
So would you mind just introducing yourselves to the audience and what your title is in the organization?
Sure. My name is Phoebe Bakeman, and I'm the Healthcare for All Grant Coordinator.
And I'm Holly Jarrell-Marcinelli, and I'm the Director of Consumer Services.
Great. So we are on here to talk a little bit about how you work with MassHealth to go specifically. So could you maybe explain a little bit about MassHealth, like what it is, who they serve, for people who may not know?
Yeah, sure. So MassHealth is an insurance provided by the state that provides coverage for healthcare and health-related services. It serves low and moderate income families. It serves children, older adults, people with disabilities, a variety of groups.
And right now you're here talking about specifically how GLSS is helping people with MassHealth Redetermination. So It was suspended during COVID, is that correct? And now it's kind of coming back. How did that work?
Yeah, right. The renewal process got suspended during COVID. So prior to COVID, people needed to renew or recertify, renew their eligibility usually every year in order to keep their MassHealth. So during COVID, MassHealth protected the status of everyone who had MassHealth so they could continue to get the health services they needed during the pandemic. So after the end of the public health emergency, MassHealth has started back this process of renewing, and they now have over 2 million people to assess for recertification.
That's a lot. And people, how do they know if they need to renew information? It's the blue envelope you were saying that people can get in the mail?
Right. So MassHealth will, over a period of a year since they started this process back in March 2023, they'll be sending blue envelopes to those who are eligible for redetermination. So once you get this blue envelope in the mail, it's your time to submit everything.
So for GLSS, what do you do specifically to help people with this process?
So we have a couple of initiatives where MassHealth has asked us and organizations like us to help mostly get the word out about what's happening and why it's so important not to lose your MassHealth coverage. So we are providing information in the community. We also have certified application counselors on staff, and that's partially funded through the Executive Office of Elder Affairs and MassHealth to allow us to help older adults with this process. So older adults who maybe lose their coverage or don't know how to do the process with the blue envelope, they can get help with a certified application counselor to help them with that.
And one thing you were mentioning, like you said, you work for GLSS, not MassHealth. So if people are unsure who to contact, what would you say to that?
If you're not sure who to contact about this process, we always recommend call MassHealth Customer Service. They will be the best resource. They'll also be able to advise you on what you might need to submit for your redetermination and give you any important due dates that you need to know about.
And how long does the redetermination process go for? How long do people have to submit information, update things?
So this entire redetermination campaign from MassHealth is a total of a year. So they have from March 2023, when this was first started, until April of this year for all of these redeterminations to be completed.
And if someone gets the blue envelope in the mail, though, they have 45 days to return the packet of information. So the information inside the envelope will tell them what they need to submit or how to do this process. And they have 45 days to respond, and then MassHealth will determine whether or not they're still eligible.
Okay.
All right.
If they don't respond or return the information within 45 days, they will be disenrolled.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we're trying to get the word out, why it's so important that people, first of all, be on the lookout for the blue envelope. But another really important thing to do is for everyone to make sure that MassHealth has their correct contact information. Because since this process didn't happen since early 2020, people may have moved, they may have new contact information, and if MassHealth doesn't know that, they may be sending the blue envelope somewhere else.
The wrong place. So
people can call MassHealth just to make sure that MassHealth has their correct contact information.
Okay, that makes sense. You said if they don't get the envelope, they don't know they have to do it.
Right,
so
exactly.
You did mention this, you can be disenrolled. So is it possible for people, it is possible people who disenrolled lose coverage.
Mm-hmm.
What circumstances would go around that? Like, cause you to maybe lose it?
Well, like Holly mentioned, if MassHealth is not able to get in contact with you, that's where you're at big risk for losing your coverage. Once again, why it's so important to make sure they have your updated contact information. If you are disenrolled, though, there are other options available to you through the Massachusetts Health Connector.
Well, that's definitely a good thing for people to know, so that they don't, panic. Like, oh, I don't qualify for this, but they can get other things. So, I guess within your roles, your job specifically, do you work more with seniors, the general population? Is it a mix to help with this?
GLSS serves people of all ages. The programs through which we are operating these grants are focusing on older adults. Okay. There are a lot of additional services, or very important services, critical supports for older adults that they can get through MassHealth. So it's really important for us to help people maintain their MassHealth. We don't want our consumers to be losing their MassHealth and possibly lose services that they're getting through that.
No, not at all. And you mentioned certified application counselors. Mm-hmm. How would people, do they need appointments? Are there specific hours? How does that work?
Our certified application counselor who helps people 65 and older with their applications, they can just call GLSS and ask to be connected with the certified application counselor. They work with people individually and they'll set up appointments. They may not always be in the office, so it's better to set up an appointment rather than to just walk in.
Okay.
But they can help with the process. Even maybe the person doesn't need help with the full application, but they might just need some guidance or advice. The certified application counselor can help with that too.
That's definitely a good thing for people to know.
And you don't have to be a GLSS consumer.
Oh, okay.
In order, I should add that anyone who's 65 or older who needs assistance with this process can call, and our certified application counselors will help them.
Oh, so it is, like you said, it's open to that whole community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyone who's under 65, who's a little bit younger, do you still offer any help or assistance to them, or how does that work?
Yes, we can. Our certified application counselor can actually work with some of our consumers who are 60 and older and has resources to connect people with other certified application counselors. Also on the mass.gov website, you can find out how to find your nearest certified application counselor that can assist you with an application.
That's good to know. That's always good to know. And said you were working with Healthcare for All grant. That's focused more on the wider community. So you focus more on kind of everybody, not just seniors.
Yeah, that's right. So MassHealth and Healthcare for All, they identified 15 target municipalities within the state, and Lynn is one of those target communities. GLSS, since we're right in the heart of Lynn, we've been working since we got this grant, attending various community events, handing out information, like Holly said previously, handing out information at our own events that we put on at GLSS. One of them, for example, is our monthly brown bag mobile market. And we also have put out different ads detailing all of this information in local newspapers.
So really making sure that everybody knows about it, everyone can know about it.
Right.
And what would you say is the best way for people to find out about new information from you? Would it be Facebook, website, email? How do you really tend to blast that information?
It tends to vary each month, but we are fairly consistent with posting on social media, just as a reminder to get it out there. We always love if people share that information as well. And we really do try to reach most people through newspaper ads and just community outreach.
Yeah, it's all about connecting people. And I will have to wrap up in a moment, but is there anything that I didn't mention about MassHealth coverage, anything that you wanted to mention?
I think there's one thing I'd like to talk about, which is Phoebe had mentioned other forms of MassHealth or other types of support that if you're no longer qualifying for MassHealth, and you had asked about what might cause somebody to lose their MassHealth. So a lot of times MassHealth eligibility determination has to do with income, has to do with financial eligibility. And for people who are 60 and older, the Aging Services Access Point, which is GLSS in this area, can assess, and if someone is a nursing facility level of care, they need a higher level of care, but want to receive that care in the community, they may be eligible for something called a frail elder waiver, which we can help them get through GLSS, and then they might be eligible for MassHealth even if they were over the financial limits for MassHealth. So it's an expansion of the financial limits to qualify for MassHealth. That can only be assessed by an ASAP, by an Aging Services Access Point like GLSS. So if somebody is 60 or older, if they've lost their MassHealth, perhaps due to financial reasons, but still need those services, they could contact GLSS and ask to be assessed for the frail elder waiver.
That is definitely good information to know. And thanks for bringing that up and making sure you clarified it. We also have the information on the screen, and they can also contact you to ask any additional questions. And I said I have to wrap up now, but thank you both again so much for coming on to share this really important information.
Thanks for having us.
Great, anytime. And once again, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. Now the community calendar. Lynn Community Health Center is continuing their winter 2024 flu and COVID-19 clinic every Saturday from January 20th to March 2nd. The next one taking place tomorrow, the 3rd, from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Everyone is welcome. You do not have to be an existing LCHC patient, and insurance is not required. Shots are available for those 6 months or older. The vaccinations being offered are primary COVID vaccines, COVID boosters, and the flu vaccines. Contact the clinic to make an appointment. Next Tuesday the 6th is the opening reception for the local Black Excellence display at City Hall. Beginning at 6:30 p.m., come by for a chance to hear from several prominent speakers and celebrate the beginning of Black History Month. Organized by the North Shore Juneteenth Association as a way to recognize local Black excellence in the community through pictures and bios. LifeScene has begun offering open houses on the first Wednesday of every month from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Their next one is Wednesday, February 7th, and is held at their building, 111 North Common Street. Come by to learn more about their programs and services offered, as well as volunteer opportunities. Visitors are led through a guided tour of the building, followed by a Q&A session with the leadership team. Visit their website to RSVP if interested. That brings us to the end of another news cycle. For more information on the topics mentioned and many other stories, visit lyntv.org. Are videos your main interest? Go to Lynn Community Television on YouTube for event coverage, government meetings, and member content. And follow us on social media at Lynn Community Television to stay up to date on all our latest announcements. I'm Dani Vittori, this is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Encompass Health, North Shore Community College, Leo Inc., and Brotherhood Credit Union.